everyone. Welcome back to the Light and Life podcast, conversations on faith and life here in downtown Colorado Springs. So excited because we have Pastor Tim back today.
Hey, Liza.
How's it going?
I'm back.
Yay. So today we're talking about in the world, not of the world.
Yeah, right.
What kind of, first of all, how's your time back? And then what prompted you?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all,
this?
thanks for the conversations you hosted over the summer.
They're super fun.
Some really awesome stuff about generations and with Parker Samuelson and
Yes.
then with youth ministry with Ashley.
Yes.
And what was there one other one too?
Oh shoot, why am I not remembering?
Anyway, you did
We
an awesome
recorded
job.
them a while ago.
Yeah, you recorded them a while ago.
Yes.
It was awesome to listen to those, and it's good to be back and talking about in the world, not of the world. So actually, we're in a series in the church called Salt, where we're talking about how Jesus calls us to be salt of the earth. You are the salt of the earth, and what does that mean? And one of the ways we talk about being part of the world but not being sort of absorbed by it is that whole idea of being in the world, not of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I always heard that growing up, be in the world, not of the world, just in like little, I don't know, vacation Bible schools and stuff.
Right.
But I don't think I ever really contextualized it for me. Like I always just knew that this is some like great saying.
Yeah.
But I never knew how my life would play out, and as a kid anyway, and how I would need to like come back to that phrase, be in the world, not of the world, so often to like center myself, because we are so tempted to be of the world all the time.
Like a product of our environment. Just
oh yeah.
Like I just want to be at home wherever I am. I want to fit in wherever I am. My personality type can be have the characteristics of the chameleon. So I can
mold to whatever environment you're in.
Yeah. And that's so true. Like I've seen that, and almost to the point that I just don't like it in myself. That I can get into an environment where, hey, now we're off fishing with the guys, and I'm the guy that's off fishing with the guys, and now I'm the lead pastor of a church, so I'm robed up, whether I'm actually wearing a robe or not. It's like the robe is there. Or now I'm hanging out with Liza, and so I can be a chameleon, and so it's easy to lose track of, hey, where's the line? Like where have I just sort of gotten absorbed into the mood of the moment, the spirit of the event or the age.
Yeah, I think especially in conversation, it's easy to like say things or agree with things that other people say just so that you feel a sense of belonging, or that like, oh, the only way I can connect with this person is if I have similar beliefs as them. And that's just not true. Like dialogue, even if it's conflicting, is still an interaction and a connection that's beneficial to both parties in a conversation, I think.
Healthy conflict, like that's not personal interconflict, like I don't like you, but is conflict about a topic or about a process, about what we're going to do together, how we're going to do it together. That's actually really helpful, really productive conflict. Like there's a kind of conflict that's really productive, that isn't just animus, like against somebody, but is working something out. But yeah, also I was going to say, we're just sort of backing the car into this one, I guess. But
right on.
But that's right on.
Yeah.
But as you're talking about, like that idea of matching, there's also something to communication. I know in communication studies, there's something about matching that helps you to communicate. So if someone's sort of at a certain level, or they're talking about a certain thing, you've got to have part of you that's willing to bend into that. Like, okay, we're going to talk at this level of animation, or, okay, we're going to talk at this level of and you like to talk about football. Okay, well, I don't really know much, but I'm going to try to talk about that.
I'm going to so act like I know sports.
I'm going to totally act like I know everything. I know more than you about snow. But yeah, so that's, as a Christian, you're working it out all the time. but we know that there are differences. We know that there are distinctions. We know that we stand out. That if you're a new believer, I think it happens like right away. I mean, when you come to Christ and the Holy Spirit is within you, things change in you very quickly. And I think new believers actually feel it more than older believers. But there's a difference. There's a difference. There's a distinction.
Are you saying in interactions with one another?
In interactions with the world that doesn't know Christ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think people who have been exposed to Christ and have accepted him, and that's been the norm for forever, are more easily swayed to like be the chameleon. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and like sat up at night and been like, why did I say that? Or like, why did I agree with that? And then I have this, I'm asking you that question because I have.
Okay.
If that wasn't
Right.
already implied.
Right.
But I'll sit up and I'll think like, why did I agree with that? Or why did I not speak up about something that I really disagree with? Why, what is stopping me from pursuing truth and then being a protector of truth and
Right.
someone running
Right.
for and with and surrounded by truth? Why am I
100%.
hiding from it?
Yeah, 100%. I have one that is like a deep regret.
Oh, yeah?
Because it has to do with racism. Like
Ugh.
I was in I'm going to be very vague here. Very vague.
I won't dig.
But I was.
I could.
You could.
But I won't.
But I was pastoring and in an environment that a lot of people who don't live in this region of the country would think that's a racist environment. But my experience for years and years there was not that at all. Like I came into contact with less racism there in this particular place than I had at other places that would not be considered a racist region of the country.
Gotcha.
But there was one time where I got up from a prayer meeting early in the morning, and somebody made a racist joke about the local football team. And I was laughing just because, like, how you start to laugh when you're not sure you get the joke.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I didn't understand.
Like an uncomfortable laugh? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just,
It was like the social norm to laugh at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
And so I laughed, and the whole thing dispersed. And it wasn't. Part of it is I didn't understand.
It happens. That's the worst.
That I can like
It hit you
wash.
later.
I can like halfway wash my hands of that. But it hit me later, like and I'm now I'm part of that. Like I'm incriminated. Like I felt so filthy about that. And, had to go back later and talk to him, and it was interesting. But so yeah, you get engaged. How much as a Christian how do you as a Christian stay engaged, but you're also distinctive? And I'm thinking about that a lot right now because just watching the Olympics. Have you gotten a chance to watch a lot?
Okay, so I love the Olympics. I love gymnastics specifically because I have a false sense of I can do that.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
That's hilarious.
I don't know what it is about me, but it's so wrong.
Can I speak some truth?
Sure, yeah.
You cannot do that.
I know. Oh, I'm so aware. I'm the most accident-prone person ever, but when I watch certain things, I'm like, yeah, I bet I could do that. A little bit of spraying.
Might fall off the couch, but run the vault off the...
I have these sores on my legs because I scratch the heck out of them in my sleep when I'm I guess I'm itchy from bug bites or something, and I wake up and I'm like bleeding. I'm like, if I hurt myself just in my sleep, like, can you imagine me on a balance beam?
Injury.
But I love watching it because I envision myself with all this it can't be that hard. But then when you really go down to the science of it, I've followed Simone Biles for a while, and I just love her. I think she is awesome. She is a force of nature. She at one point hit 12 feet in the air in a jump.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to
Right.
me, but at the same time,
I mean, 12 feet. That's huge. Yeah.
yeah. So I watch it because I'm like, oh, maybe I could throw my body that way. I couldn't. Anyway, sorry. There's a point to, I'm sure, why you brought this up. So I'll
Well,
stop digressing.
No, that's good. That's good. I love that. I think I could do that. I mean, one of the things I love about the Olympics is that it's one of those opportunities, which is sports in general, but it's one of those opportunities to see people, and they haven't been curated, if I can just say this, by Hollywood. These are people. These are people who've come from their distinctive real places and their families and their stories. And so a lot of them, all of them at some point in the interview, as they attain this level of competition and this world stage, at some point they have to start disclosing what their deep foundations are. Like it just comes out. Like they have to say like, oh, the karma, they have to say something. And so a lot of times, the Christians, their beliefs come to the surface, and they talk about, if I didn't have the Lord, if I don't know how I would make it through. And they talk about when they broke their back or when their mother died or when, this, that, or the other thing. And it just, I love it because I feel like I'm getting to see real people and learn real stories. And I love that.
Yeah.
But I think about, they have to be, as Christians, they still have to be Olympians. And that's an identity.
Oh, yeah.
And so how do they work that out? How do you make the distinction? And they get to such a level where there's a certain liberty to just say, this is who I am, and I can jump 12 feet in the air on a triple back,
which totally
handspring.
Rocks. Yeah.
So I'm whoever.
So take that.
Take that. So I'm not sweating it either, right? But when you're younger, when you're trying to work your way up, I think about all that pressure to fit in, and I think that plays out for Christians, just like any of us would feel that it plays out. How do I stay faithful to Jesus while I'm fully engaged in this vocation or in this track? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, I can't imagine having such like a global stage. Such an opportunity to bring up Jesus, right? But if your identity is like, I'm here because I've worked hard and I'm talented, and that'd be really difficult, I think, for me if I were in that position, because again, I think I can do it. Falsely, I know that I can't. I'm just saying something's really wrong with my brain where I have this.
Maybe you can. I think get started.
It's like an overconfidence in all the wrong things, but that's okay.
Try a forward somersault.
If someone were to ask me about like my upbringing and how I got to where I got, like, I don't know what I would say with that much fame and that big platform.
Right.
I would hope it'd be, my faith has gotten me to where I am, but who's to say I wouldn't be like, yeah, I was been in the driveway shooting hoops since I was 2 years old. Yeah.
And that is something that I am really interested in too, because some athletes are like, if it wasn't for my parents, if it wasn't for the sacrifice of my hometown and my gym, and if God didn't get me through, I have all these people to give credit to and give thanks to. And then there's others who are just like, I am I am where it's at, right? You guys are lucky to watch me do this. And that kind of is interesting too. It's chilling, actually.
Gosh.
All credit to me, And,
I'm wondering if they, on either side, if they get, I just think of like Olympic Village, if they go under any kind of scrutiny for what they've said in the public eye, like among each other.
I wonder.
Okay, if this person thinks that they're, the bee's knees, and another person is like super humble.
That means for you at home who don't know that they're really special people. They're the bee's knees.
Yeah. Did I use that phrase right? I tried to reach like an audience that is not Gen Z. Did that help?
Yeah, you jumped Gen X.
I think so.
You jumped Boomer all the way to Builder, I think.
Oh.
With that reference.
I thought I went straight for the Boomer. Maybe
Well,
not.
it'll land.
Okay, it should. But yeah, I mean, sometimes like the world doesn't love Christians or thinks that they're entitled. And I'm wondering like how, from a global view of someone who's not a Christian, you know, how would they perceive someone who says if it weren't for the Lord? Like,
Right.
you know, what's,
I think I like that platform too, Liza, because it's like, I really did just swim 200 yards that fast.
mm-hmm.
And so I kind of get to say, I don't know, it feels like a pure platform
Okay.
of just someone's like, tell me more about you. I love the Lord. You know,
Okay.
It just feels like a pure platform because it isn't just let me go sort of, I don't know, shovel this over you.
Yeah.
It's like having been a really good swimmer, now you're interested in knowing more about me, which I think is one of the ways to navigate this. I mean, I'm saying our listeners obviously are in all kinds of different environments that are not Olympic athlete.
Oh yeah.
But wherever you are in work, wherever you are in school, or you know, you've got this pressure to fit in. You also have a desire to be distinctive and to have integrity with your faith. I think if you're the best pilot you can be, if you're the best salesperson you can be, if you're the best real estate agent you can be, that is the first kind of, that creates kind of that pure platform of I can share a little bit more about myself. And even if you're just open with, this is how good I am at this.
Yeah.
I'd like to offer it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to offer what I have to offer.
And since you're asking,
yeah.
I might, you know,
yeah.
go ahead and talk about Jesus.
Yeah. But the other thing that came up with the Olympics was, did you watch the opening ceremony and all that stuff?
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't have
the right channels.
I don't have broadcast TV.
Broadcast TV.
I'm only cable, but I guess I could live stream on Peacock.
Yes.
Anyway, I have only been interested in gymnastics. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry, guys.
And you can watch so much of that.
I have to be so honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the controversy in short was, are Christians being made fun of by the opening ceremonies? And
I did. Okay. You say, did you see it? I didn't watch it live.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures, depictions, you know, something that looked a lot like the Last Supper.
Right.
I assume is what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess our question is why?
Why? And honestly, also it's just that I think it's the common experience of Christians to be the subject of being mocked or being made fun of, being the butt of a joke, going way back. And, you know, even Jesus promised that this is how life would be like following him in this world. That, we'll just jump to John 15:18. Jesus said, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. So Jesus was really open that, look, you're going to watch me receive a lot of hate and vitriol. And the truth is that to be my follower in the world, you're going to be subject to that same kind of ostracism and mockery and cruelty. So why does the world hate Christians? Why does the world, does that resonate with you in your generation and your times? Like, is it hard to be a Christian?
I think in my generation, I should say, my experience, my own generation would be that it's kind of like, do you do you. Okay. And I have people in my life who are agnostic or atheists who will like make a joke about purity culture, or they'll make jokes about like, even in the workplace, like, oh, you know, Liza's a Christian, make sure you guard what you say to her because she'll be extra offended more than everyone else. And it's like,
right,
they're calling attention to it in a way that does feel like you're being belittled, but not in a way that they actually care how you Am I making sense? Like, they don't actually care that I'm a Christian. It doesn't affect them at all, but they will get their own little joke in.
Because is the assumption that everybody's got their thing and we can poke fun at each other's
Yeah.
things, and your thing is Christian.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
thing is,
Honestly.
yeah.
Because it's kind of just like, I'll table that. I'll table that. That's interesting, but you have a funny tattoo. Haha. Like,
Yeah.
I would say my generation leans towards, and I might be overstating this here, but leans towards individualism, and like everyone wants to stand out and everyone wants to be unique. And so like Christianity is so widely known that it's like, oh, you're not unique if you're a Christian. Like, you just fit this, mom and pop mold that, you're going to grow up and you're going to live in a white picket fence house. And
Normie.
yeah. And so it's not like super exciting. So it's almost like, and you're viewed as, frankly, a prude.
Okay.
But there's not like, I haven't experienced hatred. I've just experienced a little bit of like mockery, poke fun, but it's like we have a mutual respect for one another.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I feel like fully respected by those comments. Of course not. But I know that she doesn't actually feel offended for what I believe. I know that those friends that I have do not feel offended or hate the fact that I love Jesus. They just don't understand it.
Yeah.
But on a global perspective, I know that, Christians are persecuted, and I'm so fortunate to not be persecuted. But I've never understood the hate, because I think that if a Christian were to like, if we had a Uno reverse card, if you will,
right,
to play, if we were to express hatred like so outwardly and so just aggressively to any other kind of religion,
right,
we would be like.
That was one thing that I just heard. It resonated deeply. This is Paris, France. So France has always been, since the revolution, France has always been sort of, let's get rid of religion. Like, it's been part of what their vision of the modern era was, to be religion free and create a new way of life that doesn't have religion in it. So they're always poking fun. But if they poked fun at Muhammad, the streets would be on fire, right?
Yeah, and it would be broadcast to the whole entire world. Yeah. And
but I think it's a good that if we as Christians can take it with a grain of salt. Like, you're poking fun at Da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper. I wish you wouldn't, but at the same time, once you're offended, there's a way that you've lost.
Oh yeah.
Like, once you're the one who's, I'm so offended, I'm so outraged, you're not going to have any influence at all. And the point is to have influence. Like,
well, and the world is watching and is going to be critical of any kind of response that we have to that.
Right.
So
right. It's like poke.
It's like, like, when are they gonna freak out?
Right.
And you do lose. You lose the battle if you do freak out, or if you try to attack verbally other people, because that's also not in the Christian nature to do. I don't know. It's just Christian behavior is generalized in the public eye, I think. So it's like, if one Christian does something, it's generalized to every other Christian. Yep.
You're representing the whole
all of Christianity.
Caboodle.
So it's kind of similar to like people that are hurt by a church growing up. They a lot of times will internalize that and think that every Christian is the same, when really we're all hurt people, and we all hurt people, whether by intention or by accident.
So what do you think it means? How would you advise someone to be in the world and not of the world, or to be salt and light, to be the salt of the earth? How would you have any?
I think it's always good to have something that takes you back to like a level-headedness, something that centers you. Because, I work in sales. I can quickly shaped to be whoever I'm trying to impress, and, be in um, cahoots with people. Like, I can do whatever I can easily form who I am and tailor how I behave to a given room full of people. And who is that actually benefiting in the end? Because it's not me. I don't benefit by pretending to be someone that I'm not. I've actually seen myself become a lot more successful and feel a lot more alive when I do center myself on who I am.
Yeah.
I write what I'm grateful for. I pray. I'm in the Word. Now, I'm not saying I do that all the time. Please do not take this and think that I'm like trying to brag about my
humble brag,
my religious
devotions.
Practices. No, but I think it's like I notice a significant difference in myself when I'm not doing those things.
Yeah.
In how I prioritize how other people view me. I feel like when I'm grounded, I don't really care,
Yeah.
what other people view about me, because I know that my priority is my relationship with the Lord and, running after the kingdom and being on mission to help other people experience the joy of the Lord. But if I forget that, I don't know.
And then
holistically, my answer is like discipline. Really, like, to be in the world and not of it is to first recognize, where you are swept up by the world and by the culture and the media, all these things that are influencing factors in your life.
Yeah.
Be aware of them and make a conscious effort to like really find what Christ is trying to do in your life and really listen to him and talk to him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't really stand a chance. I mean,
Yeah. And then you have all those walk away moments of, whoa, who was I in that room?
Yeah. And it feels dirty. It feels wrong. And then you end up, it'll be like a week or two, and I'll end up being like, hey, I want to talk about the past or 2 weeks ago when I said this or when I did this. I don't actually believe that. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to walk it back.
Oh yeah, or else it'll eat me alive for the rest of my life.
Well, this is I love where this conversation went, because I think I'm reflecting a lot more now listening to you on the idea of integrity. That we've got a desire to be a whole person, and our whole person is centered on Christ. And so I want to have integrity. I don't want to be disintegrated into all these different people that don't actually even know or fit with one another. To be salt, to be centered on Christ, would be to have integrity, to be a whole person in Christ. And then I think the saltness, so where Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth" in Matthew 5, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything. So he's saying, don't lose the salt edge. And I think the saltiness, that salt edge, is like, I'm going to take increasing risks to connect who I am in different relationships and different venues with my actual identity. And if that means, that might be more risky than just still pretending to be salesperson Tim, or,
right.
That might be more risky, but the payoff is A, I get more integrity, and B, potentially you see more of Jesus in me than you did before, because the real me is going to be centered, resting, have that integrity in Christ. So should I throw these like little salt things out real quick?
Yeah, please do. I love them.
So how are the Christians like salt? Listeners, Jesus said to be salt and light. Just 4 things real quick. Salt is everywhere. It's everywhere. The world is filled with salt. Christians are everywhere. Salt preserves food. You use salt as a preservative. You rub it in, like in the old days, you'd rub it into meat and dry the meat, then the meat would be preserved. Christians, actually, we have a preserving function in society and culture. And we'll have to pick that up another time. Salt brings out flavor. I believe that Christians who know the Lord, who know the Creator, who know the true goodness of things, we can draw out the flavors of what is good in the world, of what is beautiful, of what is worthy. We can draw those flavors out. And then lastly, salt creates thirst. And I think if we're being people of integrity, if we're revealing that Christ is in the center of our lives, that's going to create a thirst. That's going to create a thirst. That's going to prick a need in people's heart to know more about the Lord, and then that's where we can offer up what we know of Jesus and of His grace and love. So, be salty, people.
Be salt.
Yeah, be salt. That's better than be salty.
That wraps up our time. If you're enjoying these conversations on faith and life, please leave us a review so that more people can find us, and we'd love for you to join us in the conversation. If there's a topic you'd like for us to discuss, as always, send an email to podcast@firstprescos.org. And if you're watching the video version on YouTube, please leave a comment below. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode when we talk about finding Jesus in the ordinary times. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.